Now we are live again. Hello. Good evening. Yeah, my name is Wenche Birmo, and finally we got it to work. So now I am honored to have Thom Stark with me for an interview. I met him in Arizona in September. And we are friends, and he has a very, how can I say it? And it's a very deep, emotional, personal story to share. Isn't that right, Thom?
Yeah, thank you, Venke. And it was a real pleasure to meet you and so many others from Norway and Sweden when we met in Phoenix, Arizona a few weeks ago. And it was just a real honor for Susan and I to meet you and spend time with you. But yeah, it's, cancer is kind of a funny word. And it was something that I was diagnosed with initially 7 years ago. And then it was cleared. And so I went several years without any treatment or follow-up because I was, given the medical clearance where I didn't need anything. And in April of this past spring, all of a sudden I wasn't feeling well again. I ended up in the hospital and was there for 8 days. And in that 8-day period, all they did was tests. Then we tried to manage my situation with diet and, trying to avoid surgery. That didn't work. And so eventually in the middle of May, I did have surgery. And in the process, there was the re-diagnosis of a cancer that I had many years ago that I didn't know that I had. So it was a surprise. It was a shock to me. It was a shock to Susan, of course. I know that when I was initially diagnosed, the thing that came to mind was fear. You hear that C word, and it's like, oh my gosh, life is going to end. It's going to, everything's going to turn out horrible. And, that didn't happen this time. It did the first time, but I've learned so much about nutrition. I've learned a lot about pH balancing. I've learned a lot about digestive enzymes and things that we can do to boost our immune system. And when I was given that initial diagnosis, at least back in May, that I really wasn't worried. And I think the difference this time is that now I have information. Now I have a strategy. And it's something that has been working for me in the last several months. So the kind of tumor that I have, or had, I'm going to say had, if you don't mind, the doctors considered it inoperable. So the surgery I had nothing to do with removing cancer. It had everything to do with allowing me to digest and process food. The type of cancer also does not respond to radiation or to chemotherapy, to traditional chemotherapy. And so, at first glance, it's like, that's not a great prognosis. That's not a great scenario that you want to be living through. But I just have a deep faith in God and His plan for my life. I also have gone through this educational process where I've learned so much about how to take care of my body differently and hopefully to take care of it better. A few minutes ago, I listened to the interview with Jeff Arnson, and how inspiring was that? Jeffrey, I don't think he'll mind if I say this, that, he's someone who overcame type 1 diabetes, which, as you know, generally is considered incurable. There was some liver damage, and so he still grapples with that. But he's made very similar changes. In fact, he's probably been more strident about it or more aggressive than I have. But he no longer has type 1 diabetes, and he's overcoming his issue with his liver. And so I'm working to do the same thing, except in my case, it's cancer that we're trying to overcome, and right now we're winning that battle. So I had an appointment yesterday with my oncologist, and he's looking at my lab reports, and he's going, I really don't know how to explain what's going on here, but I've never seen blood work like this. And every month that I've seen him since my surgery, he basically has said the same thing. So now he's like curious. He wants to know, what are you doing? How is this happening? And so it was a real pleasure. Go ahead.
I'm sure everybody else wants to know what you've done. Have you changed your lifestyle? What have you done when the hospital couldn't help you? What did you do?
You know, there are many things that I had already done. So healthier eating habits, more plant-based nutrition, more plant-based personal care products. You know, so shampoo or toothpaste or things that didn't have carcinogenic or cancer-causing ingredients in those products. So that stuff I've gotten rid of. The one thing that was different this time is the Super Sprout sterols. They came out late in the winter, early this spring, and I started taking the Super Sprout sterols in conjunction with the digestive enzymes, high quality digestive enzymes, and those two things combined have made a huge difference in how I feel and what's happening with my digestive system, what's happening with my lab work, my blood work. And but the thing that's really different is those Super Sprout sterols, and it's amazing. So the major lifestyle changes I'd already made, but this is a new product, if you will, or something that was introduced to me, and I am grateful. I'm just so grateful for what's happening. And now my oncologist is like, "What are you doing? What's going on here?" Because he's not expecting these kind of results. He's expecting to see the blood number go in the opposite direction. And so it's very enjoyable now when I go see him, because I know I'm going to blow his mind a little bit.
Yeah, I must say you look a lot better now than you did when I saw you in September. Mm-hmm. And also the other day I saw you out dancing, so you must.
Yeah, Susan and I, we love ballroom dancing, and so it's something that we've competed a little bit over the years, and it's something that we had to step away from in the last several months. But yeah, I have enough strength now in my legs, my upper body to be able to turn, rotate, do all the different things you have to do, and so yeah, we were out, kind of made the initial foray into the dance world last Saturday. And but really, the thing with the sterols, and I think the digestive enzymes, what it does is that it really boosts your immune system. It really kicks it up to another notch. And our bodies are designed to be able to ward off disease or illness or parasites or all kinds of different things. So the Super Sprout sterols, it's not a cure for any condition. It's not a cure for cancer. It's not a cure for diabetes. It's not a cure for high cholesterol. But all those things will happen when you empower your immune system to do what it's designed to do. So, listening to Jeff and the inspiring story that he has, it's just amazing, to hear that. To have my oncologist look at me and say, "Your blood work, Thom, is superb. If I didn't know any better, you're not sick." And so I'm actually going to undergo some tests in December, because I know that the tumor has shrunk, and I believe it's shrunk significantly. He knows something is different, and I want proof, and I think he wants proof as well. So it's actually an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm really so happy for you. This is so great news.
Yeah, it's fabulous. One thing that I heard Jeffrey say is that once he started taking the sterols, and this is just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, right, since he started taking that product, that he can tell a difference in his energy. He can tell a difference in his focus. He just feels different. He feels better. And over the last several weeks, since we met in Phoenix, I've been able to take the product every day. Before that, because they didn't have it in stock for quite a while. I wasn't able to follow the regimen. But now that I have, I feel better every day. And I, sometimes my memory's here, sometimes it goes a little bit, but my overall focus, my overall energy, just my sense of well-being, it's so much better than it was at this time a year ago. And a year ago at this time, I didn't know I was ill. But looking back at it, now I understand something was changing in my body, and it was kind of slow, very incremental, but everything's coming back so quickly now. It's just amazing to me. So, yeah, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
What would you, how can I say, what advice would you give somebody in your situation? What have you learned from this experience?
Faith is more important than fear. And so when you have faith, and that it changes your perspective. If you're in fear, like I was many years ago, you kind of carry that mentality around with you, and you're always wondering, is this going to come back? What's going to happen? How did this happen? I don't care about that stuff anymore. What I care about is knowing that I am healing and knowing that I am healthy and that I will continue to be in good health. But that's attitude. But faith is really, really critical. The fact that our bodies are designed to ward off illness, disease, parasites, viruses, bad bacteria, all kinds of things. I think a lot of people don't really, it's like we hear it, but we don't really get it until we get it. We don't really understand it until a doctor or somebody gives us a diagnosis. And, too many times, and I know it's true in this country, I'll bet it's true in Europe, too many times people will believe the doctor knows everything. And, my physicians, the ones that I've been working with, they're very smart, they're very knowledgeable, they know what they know. At the same time, they only know what they know. They're not taught nutrition, they're not taught about supplements, they're really not taught about your immune system. They're taught to deal with particular situations and how to try and handle it. But it's a very specific set of information, and they don't know it all. And so I
think it's very important to listen to our own body, because yep. I think myself, I can feel when my body gets out of balance. And also the thing you mentioned about the positive mindset and being grateful and being in the present instead of in the fear in the future. I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree. And, Susan was with me when I went through this the first time. She sees a difference, both attitudinally, but she also sees a difference in, how everything is responding around me. So, when we visit a doctor, now we're a lot more aggressive with asking questions. Are you aware of this? Did you know that? Aren't you curious about why the blood work's getting better? You know what I'm saying? It's like now we're asking better questions. We're putting them into a situation where they have to respond, where before it's like, are there any side effects to that? What's going to happen? And it was just it's a very different attitude, a very different mindset. I really respect the medical profession. I was a medical professional in behavioral health or in social work. So I have a lot of knowledge about how that system works. But in the end, I also know that I was only trained to do certain things. A nutritionist is only trained to do certain things. A dietitian is only trained to do certain things. An oncologist is only trained to do certain things. And nobody's given the whole picture. We have to educate ourselves, right? As to what's going on in our bodies. We have to educate ourselves about decisions that we make and what we're choosing to adopt. So there'll be a point where my oncologist, there is a shot that I take once a month that's designed to slow the growth of the tumor. And we're going to have a conversation with him soon about why do I need that shot now? Because I don't believe I need it. But I do want the test confirmations in December before we make that decision. I want the data that says this is really what's real, because if what I believe is true, that medication is not designed to do that. It's designed to slow the growth. It's not designed to eradicate or eliminate. And so there's a point where, we'll be having a different conversation with him. So
we have quite a few viewers. I will show you some comments here.
Yeah, because I can't see any.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Katerina.
Yeah, and
I think
here's another one. Kirsty.
Yes. Yeah, hi, Kirsty.
And here's another one. Ragnar.
Yeah, hi, Ragnar.
Oh, here's our guest.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, hi, Jeffrey.
And I've learned several things actually from Jeffrey, but one of them, faith, absolutely, Ragnar. It is critical. And for me, for Susan, that our belief in God.
What should I do now?
I don't know. But our belief in God and our belief in His healing abilities, our belief in His purpose for our lives, that's only been strengthened in all of this. It's not shaken at all. And we just, we revel in that and we share that as much as we can. Does anyone have any questions? I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions? It's good to be Jeffrey's saying. It's good to be smart and work with both self and medicine. That's true.
Yeah, that's so true. And Jeffrey he had a couple things that I thought were really pearls of wisdom. One of them happens to be with breathing. That we can really help our kind of the alkalinity in our body just by the way that we breathe. We inhale, we exhale, practicing, the positive mindset, gratitude, and all that. But, oxygen is vital to our system. And so as we breathe in, as we exhale and get rid of the bad, that's also a very, very important thing. And it's something that Susan and I both practice.
I think alkalizing is another word for different ways in life to provide our blood with more oxygen. It's the way we breathe. If we breathe down to our stomach, and if we're out exercising, if we drink enough water, there's so many different, the mindset, so many different things.
Yeah, that's very true.
Locked up emotions can do a lot of harm. So we need to have everything in a flow, and yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up about locked up emotions. I remember where I was when I first got sick. I remember the work situation that I was in and how much stress I was under. And it was the most challenging, it was the worst experience in my life, dealing with some work situations in that time. But I was away at a conference, and all of a sudden I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, couldn't go to the bathroom, I couldn't do anything. And it was partly because my mind was so focused on all the negative things that were happening in the office that it was overwhelming, and it overwhelmed me. But that's really when, I don't know, I just look back at that moment, that time. It's like, all right, I've got to find a way to live a more balanced life and let the past go, because it is what it is. And we can't change anything in our past anyway, right? You can't go back and change anything that happened yesterday. You can't change anything that happened when you were up on the North Sea. I mean, whatever it is in our lives, it's what happens in our lives. What we can do is deal with today and deal with tomorrow, and begin to look ahead and make sure that we have that goal in mind for ourselves. Does that make sense? Or that purpose that we have in our life, and we pursue that purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And forgive ourselves and others in the past. Let go of what has been.
That's right. You got to let it go. Otherwise, you're going to
live with what you call it, peace, and be grateful for every situation. It's either a lesson or a blessing. We have to accept what we meet, or what is thrown at us.
Yeah, I like the way you put that.
Deal with it and get on with it.
That's right. And I like what you said. It's either a blessing or it's a lesson. You know, it's like we can diminish it, and we can diminish everything in our lives when we get caught up in that stuff. Or as we move through it, we will get to the other side a lot more quickly. And Jeffrey, life is a process. I can see the scrolling up. But how we react to challenges is vital. And when we get stuck in the negative, we stay in the negative, and it will bring us down. So I'm very selective these days about what I let in my life, because of that very reason. It's only going to be good. It's only going to be positive.
I think everybody should be selective about what we allow into our daily life, because it affects us. No matter if we have cancer or not, it affects our body in a negative way.
That's right. That's exactly right. So anyway, if there are questions, that's great. If not, Benke, this has been an absolute delight.
Yeah.
And one of these days, we're going to get the technology right the first time, every time, and just go forward. But so I apologize.
It was great that you could take time out of your busy schedule, working from home and being everywhere. So thank you for coming on.
Can I add one more thing?
Of course.
My life, the way I live my life today, and same with Susan, the way we live our lives as a married couple, that we have a chance now to meet people from all over the world. So, when I was stuck in my day-to-day routine, stuck in my day-to-day job, everything's focused around, going to work and dealing with all the problems and headaches there. But we wouldn't have met had we not done something different in our lives. So, or with Jeffrey Arnson, or Ron, Dr. Ron, or Michael, or anybody else that we know in common, we know them because we've stepped out in faith to do something different. And I think that's really important, because it's exciting to meet people from different parts of the world, different cultures. I'm really amazed at your English and how well you speak. And at some point, I'll be able to pronounce your last name in a way that will be close. Because Norwegian, that's a hard language.
I know that the Americans say Byrimo.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of how we would accent the different syllables. So, but no, it's been a real pleasure, Benke, and I appreciate it. And everyone who watches this, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, Benke is a great resource. Or reach out if you have any questions that I can answer. I'm sure Jeffrey would be responsive as well. So
we can all respond to the comments after the live. It will be on my wall, so you can come back and answer questions. And I really appreciate you. And I think you are amazing, what you're going through, and you're still so passionate about sharing and helping others. And you are amazing.
Yeah, well, our bodies are amazing human organisms. I'll borrow what Jeffrey says sometimes, but it's I appreciate that. But really, it's an exciting time, and it's not me, it's God, and it's all the opportunities that are coming our way. So we're grateful. Susan and I are grateful. Anyway, thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you another day. Take care. Bless you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.